All right, and the moment you have been waiting for, we finally create our first campaign. Yay! Anyways, as I mentioned in the previous video, I'll be doing this as a PowerPoint presentation because A, this way it's faster to cover everything since it's organized, and B, it'll be easier if you want to create one alongside me or revisit this video in the future. If you're ready, let's start with the campaign types. When you create a new campaign, you'll see 6 campaign types: awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, and sales. Each campaign type has its own objective, but 90% of the time you will be running sales campaigns optimized for the purchase event for e-commerce and lead campaigns for lead generation accounts. There are a couple of arguments around running a traffic campaign alongside a sales campaign to support them, or running a view content or add to cart optimized campaigns to train or season the pixel, or running a awareness campaign to expand reach, get some likes or comments under the ads so the ads have more social proof with them. You don't need any of them. They are either myths or unnecessary if you're not spending plus 20k per day. And even in that case, to be honest, like not many people, including me, are not using them. Let's cover where the idea is coming from. Back in the day, people used to run traffic campaigns or level funnel event optimized campaigns like view content or add to cart to season their pixel. Since it was a new account, Facebook needed to learn who your ideal customer was step by step. So starting directly with purchase wasn't always the best option. But with new technologies and recent updates, like Facebook doesn't need that anymore. Creative does the targeting, and people can get good results even starting directly with purchase optimized campaigns while targeting broad. Broad targeting means no targeting other than age, gender, and location. No interest, no lookalikes, no nothing, just open. So to summarize, all you need are sales campaigns and lead campaigns for now. By the way, before we dive into the campaigns, ad sets, and ads in detail, let's quickly summarize what they are. A campaign is a top level container where you choose your overall goal, like sales, leads, or traffic. An ad set is where you decide who sees your ads, the audience, placement, or the schedule. And an ad is the actual post people see, your images, videos, text, headline, and call to action. Moving on. So when you first create a campaign, it starts at the campaign level settings. I know there are a lot of flashy settings here, like buying type, A/B testing, or special ad categories, which I couldn't capture in the screenshot apparently, but you don't want to touch any of that for now. All you need here is the budget strategy, where you decide whether you want to control the budget at the campaign level, which is called CBO, or at the ad set level, which is called ABO. We will cover the pros and cons of each later on. Then you have the budget itself, where you give your campaign a daily spending target. And here you have the Advantage Plus catalog option, which turns your ads into catalog ads by using your product's information. It uses the product image as the creative and the product URL as the destination. It looks something like this. And finally, we have the bidding strategy, where you decide which bidding strategy you want to use. Let's briefly explain what they are. First, you have the highest volume strategy. Here, Facebook tries to go and get you the most results for your budget. There are no restrictions on spending. Facebook just goes out there and tries to find people who may want to buy your services or products. Then you have the cost per result goal, which is also known as the cost cap strategy. Here, you tell Facebook the average cost you want per result, and it tries to stay around that while still getting conversions. The word average is important here because if you set a $20 goal, Facebook can still get you a $30 result there and a $10 result here. As long as it averages out $20, it still goes and spends the money. ROAS goal works the same way, but instead of the cost per acquisition, you are optimizing for the return on ad spend. And finally, we have the bid cap strategy. Here, you're basically telling Facebook, no, you're not allowed to go up to $30 CPAs and average out on $20. You can only spend my money if you believe you can get me $20 CPAs or lower. So the budget restriction pyramid, sorry for that, goes like this. But Efe, how will I know which one to use? Which one is better? If only it was that simple, my dear friend. There are a lot of discussions around this topic, and it honestly deserves its own video. It goes a bit deep, but we will get there, don't worry. For now, let's move forward with the highest volume. Since we're assuming this is a new account, we don't have much data to work around with, or we simply want Facebook to spend our fully daily budget without restrictions. Now let's move on to the ad set level where the magic happens. The first setting you'll see here is the conversion setting. Here you'll select the conversion location, meaning where the event you're tracking actually happens. 95% of the time you will select website. Next is the performance goal. Since this is a sale campaign, we want to maximize conversions. Any other option here, like reach or link clicks, would belong to a different campaign type, so select maximize conversions. Then finally, in this section, you will select the correct pixel and the purchase event, and leave the rest as is. However, since it's a course and not just a setup video, I want to explain what these options are. The cost per result goal is what becomes active if we select cost cap or bid cap strategies. This is where you control Facebook's bidding rules. The value rules below give you additional control over the auction. For example, you can select an audience like age or gender and say I want to bid 50% less for people older than 55. Now let's talk about the attribution model. The attribution model determines under which conditions your ads get credit for a conversion. We will leave this as standard attribution. If you click on the options that says show more setting, you will see your attribution settings. I will explain how the attribution work in a different detailed feature video, including what happens when multiple ads are involved in a conversion. But for now, let's quickly go over what these mean. Click-through means a person has to click on the ad within the given time window for the ad to receive a conversion. Engage view means the person has to watch at least 5 seconds of a video for a conversion to be attributed to that ad. View through means the person simply saw the ad. If you select 7-day click and 1-day view and someone sees your ad while scrolling Instagram, doesn't click on it but later goes to your website and buys it, the ad can still claim that conversion. But if you select 7-day click only, the person must click on the ad. Otherwise, Facebook won't give any credit to that ad and will count 0 conversions. We will cover the pros and cons of these options in a future video, like I said. Just know that there is no single correct option. This is the whole concept of this channel. I really need you to understand that this is a social science, okay? There are people making millions of dollars using 7-day click only, and there are others making millions of dollars using 7-day click plus 1-day view. Each serves a different purpose in a broader campaign strategy. For now, let's use 7-day click and 1-day view, and let's continue. If you're using CBO, you will see the budget option at the top. And if you're using ABO, you will see the lower one. The only thing that changes is where you set the daily budget. Everything else stays the same. And in here, you can force spend on your ad sets using the ad set spending limits while using a campaign budget optimization. I wouldn't recommend using this for now. The whole point of CBO is to give Facebook the authority to decide how to allocate the spend. However, let me explain why people are using this, because it's not useless. When people introduce new creatives or test new audiences by creating a new ad set, they sometimes use minimum spending limits to force some spend in case Facebook doesn't spend anything at all and they don't get any data on them. Or they use maximum daily limits to prevent Facebook from suddenly allocating the entire budget to a new test and potentially hurt the overall performance of that campaign. Now comes the fun part and all the fuss in the industry, the targeting. Facebook doesn't really want you to use it, so they kind of hide it. You will need to click on show more controls to see the targeting options. And by the way, that's not necessarily wrong. Put yourself in Facebook's shoes. They want people to come here and upload images and start advertising easily. So they're trying to remove complicated settings and allow anyone to run ads without needing an agency, an employee, or a course like this. Anyways, here you can control the campaign's targeting options. You can choose the location where you want your ads to be shown. You can select an age range like people between 25 to 55. Or you can exclude certain groups using your existing audiences, like people who visited your website in the last 90 days, to force a colder traffic. You can select custom or lookalike audiences, like 5% lookalikes of people who purchased in the last 180 days. And finally, you can select interest, behaviors, or demographics like people interested in kitchenware or recipes. Now, here's the trick, or the game. or the scam, depending on how you look at it. There are all suggestions. Weird, right? Facebook uses these as starting points, but then it can go beyond them. So it's still broad, but it starts with a guidance. If you want to limit reach strictly to these people, you will need to select further limit the reach of your ads. However, since Facebook is really good at targeting these days, and since the goal is to eventually succeed with broad, I wouldn't do this. If it's a new account or you're testing audiences, use targeting as a suggestion. And finally, we have placements. Most people use this to select specific placements like feed, stories, or reels, but you can also choose device types like mobile or desktop. You can even select operating systems. You'll probably never use the operating system, but just know that you can. I have only used it once, and that was to sell phone cases, so it made sense for my case. As for placements, you can check performance using the breakdown menu, but Facebook usually makes good decisions here unless you see some red flags like spending half of your budget on Reels with 5 times your CPA. Don't touch the placements. A lot of people, including me, have seen CPMs increase and performance drop when forcing placements. By the way, this is my personal experience. If you had success with splitting campaigns by placement, good for you. Please don't attack me in the comments. I'm trying to help people because there is always that person, right? Now let's talk about the ads. Firstly, make sure you select the correct Facebook page and Instagram page. In a fresh setup, it's hard to miss this, but recently when duplicating ads, Facebook sometimes reset the page selection. So especially when duplicating ads, double check this section, please. For the ad setup, select create ad if you're building from scratch, or use existing post if you want to promote an existing Facebook or Instagram post, or reuse a winning ad from before. Select the format, like single image, video, or carousel, depending on your creative. This section is pretty self-explanatory. As for the multiple advertiser ads, I'll be honest, I haven't seen a performance increase or decrease from using it. I personally don't use it, but if you want to keep it enabled, be my guest. When you click show more settings, you can schedule your ad. You can set a start or end date and a time. This is useful if you want to use a single ad set structure, but have a time-based offer that starts later and needs approval in advance. Destination is where you add your landing page URL. If your URL looks ugly, like try.yourbrand.com/ etc., you can use the display link option to clean it up. People will see the display link, but they will land on the actual URL you entered. And finally, we set up the creative. Select image ad or video ad based on your creative format. I'll select image for this example. This is a multi-step setup. The first screen is Creative Setup, where you manage extensions like promotions, which allows Facebook to show promotions on your ad. Facebook can pull these from your website, or you can manually add the promo code. You can also add site links, which appears under your ad, and give people additional landing page options like categories or bundle pages. Personally, I only use promotions, but don't take my word for it. You can A/B test these options and see if they improve your performance. Next is media. You will upload your creative here or select one that already exists on your Facebook page or Instagram page. After adding the image or video, you will see the crop section. Facebook will preview how your ad looks in square placements like feed, vertical placements like stories and reels, and horizontal placements like the right column. You can replace the media here if you have different sizes, or you can change it later. Personally, I usually change it later. Then we have the text section, where you add your primary text, headlines, and descriptions, and choose your CTA. You can skip this step and add it later. Personally, I add it afterwards. After that, there's the image generation section. Based on the creative you upload, Facebook generates AI-based variation. Stay away from this. Like AI is cool, but it's not ready yet. Even in this example, the pepper mill is floating in the air. And this is one of the better outcomes. You wouldn't believe the messes you can run into this. Facebook can surprise you, and if you're trying to become a digital marketing specialist, you definitely don't want to wake up to an angry client message about an ad you have never seen before. The last step is enhancements. These are small tweaks like different call to action buttons, music, touch-ups, or product add-ons that appears under your ad. Read through all of them. If something looks interesting to you, A/B test it. I don't have a strict rule for this. For example, if I have a small product catalog with mainly color variations, I enable the products. But if I have thousands of products or I want people to go to a landing page instead of a product page, I disable it. One option I always turn on is the relevant comments, but the rest depends on the situation. After you click next, you can scroll down and add your primary text if you didn't add it earlier. I like adding text here, it feels more user friendly. Like, I don't know why. You can add up to 5 primary texts and 5 headlines. You don't need to use all 5, but it's good for testing. Try long copy versus short copy or different angles or desires. After you add your first piece of copy, whether it's a headline or a primary text, Facebook or Meta, if you want to call it that way, will generate AI written text suggestions. You can apply them if you like them, but don't blindly accept them. Always review them carefully because it might generate something you or your client wouldn't approve. Finally, at the bottom, you will see the tracking settings. Make sure the correct pixel is selected and add your URL parameters to better track your traffic. If you're using a third-party tracking tool like Northbeam or Triple Whale, they'll give you pre-built URL parameters. Just copy and paste them here. If you're not using a tracking tool, you can click Build a URL parameter and create your own. When you click into the empty fields, Facebook will show a drop-down menu of options you can choose from. If you're not sure what to enter, you can use Meta or social as the source, ads or paid as the medium, campaign name for the campaign parameter, and the ad ID for the content parameter. And that's pretty much it. Like, you're ready to launch. If you see any settings or buttons I didn't cover, it probably wasn't worth mentioning, but feel free to leave a comment and I'll be happy to answer or help however I can. As usual, if you subscribe to the channel and like this video, it really helps a lot. And feel free to leave suggestions to make the channel and the course better. I'm here to teach and I have zero ego. You can tell me anything you want. I'll see you in the next one.